Welcome back. All eyes on Georgia. President Trump set to travel to the Peach State this Saturday to campaign for Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. This ahead of the two runoff elections on January 5th, which will decide the balance of power in the Senate. Yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, I spoke with Senator Loeffler about what is at stake in this election.
Everything's at stake in this election. The future of our country is on the ballot on January 5th, right here in Georgia. We are the firewall to socialism, to stopping socialism in America, right here in Georgia. And we're going to do that. But, you know, Schumer has his radical change agent in Raphael Warnock in my race. He has espoused radical views from the pulpit. He is someone that attacked our police officers, calling them gangsters, thugs, bullies, and a threat to our children. He would defund the police. So I've been proud to stand with President Trump to keep our community safe, to stand with men and women of law enforcement, and to stand our economy back up and to create jobs and opportunity that lifts everyone up. That's what this election's about.
Joining me right now is Georgia Congressman, House Judiciary Committee member Doug Collins. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I want to ask you about what's at stake in a moment, but first, Congressman, tell me what is going on in terms of Georgia and the situation around fraud. President Trump continues to say that there was multiple issues of fraud, whether it's the Dominion systems which are used in Georgia, or dead people voting, or the fact that hundreds of thousands of people could not even watch. The observers, the hundreds of thousands of ballots were implemented without observers, GOP watchers. So what is your take on Georgia?
The take on Georgia is we found a lot of problems. And I think that's one of the things that we've been fighting for is make sure that when we had the hand recount, we found, I mean, if we had not asked for the hand recount, we would have found a bunch of voters down here in Georgia that never got counted to start with, over 3,000 votes that went back to the president. We found issues of observers. We found issues down here of weakening, what we feel like weakening the signature verifications that was done on a consent order down here that, makes it harder to verify the signatures of the absentee requests. And we saw a lot of increase in absentee ballots down here. We're finishing up a mandatory, it's a statutory recount that the president's legal team asked for. And it's finishing up, probably finish up in the next day or so down here. And then we'll continue from there. There's a couple of lawsuits down here that are winding their way through the courts. I hope and wish them success in that, because we are exposing things down here that needs to be fixed before this January 5th election. But at the same point in time, as Senator Loeffler just said, this January 5th election is on top of us, and it is a very important election for not just for the state of Georgia, but for the country.
So tell us what's at stake, Congressman, because we've heard a lot about ending the filibuster, packing the Supreme Court. Do you think these issues are on the ballot this election?
They are on the ballot. That has been said. In fact, you go back to down here when President Obama came for John Lewis's funeral just earlier last year, when he said, I mean, in the funeral speech, he talked about ending the filibuster. I mean, let's think about this for a little bit. They've been thinking about what they want to do. They despise what President Trump has done for the past 4 years, building our economy, fixing our military, growing it, making our world standing in trade so much stronger, seeing the Dow where it's at now. This is what President Trump did, and I think that needs to be emphasized, and they don't like it. So they're going to use every procedural trick in the book. But even more important, Maria, of what you and I have talked about over the past little bit, if you put Dick Durbin in charge of the Judiciary Committee, then you will never hear the results of the investigations that need to be done right now that are going on by Senator Johnson and Senator Graham, into the previous election issues of the Russian collusion with all the other things that we had going on. Those will all stop. So we need to make sure that we're not only looking at it from a policy standpoint of just domestic policy, but also the investigations to get at the heart of what happened in our DOJ under Comey and Strzok, McCabe and Brennan and Clapper and all the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk with Carter Page in a little bit. And, of course, he dropped a lawsuit this weekend, Friday, and he's suing Comey as well as McCabe, Peter Strzok for wiretapping him for no reason. An innocent citizen, no charges were ever lobbed against him. Meanwhile, the battle for the White House is continuing. My exclusive interview with President Trump yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures was his first since the November election. And we asked about the possibility of having his cases heard in front of the Supreme Court. Listen to this. Which cases specifically will reach the Supreme Court and when?
Well, the problem is it's hard to get into the Supreme Court. I've got the best Supreme Court advocates, lawyers that want to argue the case if it gets there. But they said it's very hard to get a case up there. The big thing is, can you get it? We could have a great case. We do have a great case. We have the greatest case ever. We have many different forms of fraud. It's not just one form. It's ballot fraud. We have it all documented, and we have tremendous evidence. So we'll say, we want to show you the evidence, and then the judge will say, they didn't show us the evidence. That's what we want to do. We want to have hearings to show the evidence.
Earlier, President Trump's attorney, Jenna Ellis, told me that there are multiple paths to victory for the president. Congressman, what's your take on this?
I think that the case, especially the circuit from the Pennsylvania case going to the Supreme Court, hopefully the Supreme Court will order it back to be heard, and then the president can make his case. Again, this is just following the legal precedents that are making sure every legal vote's counted, and that we make sure that there was clarity in this election. And I think the president deserves that.
Yes. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Come back soon. Thank you so much. Congressman Doug Collins, always a pleasure.